Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome. Now I am doing grade 10 by public demand. Grade 10, grade 10, grade 10 revision. I'm doing grade 10 revision now. What do we have? We have got paper 1. Actually, I set this paper last year. I actually compiled it from different past exam papers. So I'm the one who set out this paper. Okay. Various options have been provided as possible answers to the following questions. Choose the correct answer and write only letter A to D next to the question numbers 1.1.1 to 1.1.8 in the answer book. For example, 1.1.9C. So this is the paper that I set, grade 10 last year. So I'm just going to go through it. I will start with the atmosphere, question 1.1 and 1.2. Then I'll do 1.3 separately, 1.1 and 1.2. Okay, then I'll do 1.3 separately. I'll also do 1.4 separately. The same applies with the last part, which is our 1.5. I'll do them separately. Only today I'll do the atmosphere for grade 11. Then if I find time tomorrow, I'll do the geomorphology. Okay, let's go through it so that we don't waste time. So the first thing, guys, is the atmosphere is not that difficult. It's not that difficult, but we have to make sure that we understand. We have to make sure that we understand what is it that we are supposed to do. We have to make sure that we understand what is it that we are supposed to do. We have to be very sure of what exactly we are supposed to do. So the heat, the transfer of heat by vertical movement, what happens? I want you to think of what happens within them close to the equator. Of course, think about your convectional rainfall. Think about your convectional rainfall. What happens? Okay, when it comes to convectional rainfall, warm air, what does it do? It is very light, it rises, of course. So when talking about the vertical movement, transfer of heat by vertical movement, we are talking mostly of what we call the convection. We are talking about convection. That's what this is all about. It's not conduction, it's convection. It's convection. Latent heat, this is a heat that is released when condensation takes place. So the answer there is what? Is your convection. Okay. A process whereby areas become more arid and drier. A process where areas become more arid and drier like a desert. Of course, a process whereby areas, which means this is the spread of desert like climatic conditions, that makes it what? Desertification. That makes it what? Desertification, which means we are saying now the once fertile areas, they are now becoming arid. That's what this is all about. This is the spreading of desert like climatic conditions, which means it's desertification. Moisture which falls from the atmosphere onto the Earth's surface, the different moisture which falls from the Earth's surface into them, from the atmosphere into the Earth's surface, okay? From the atmosphere into the Earth's surface, that's what we refer to as precipitation. That is your precipitation. So which means your rainfall is a form of precipitation. Frost is a form of precipitation as well. So the correct answer there is precipitation. Gases in the atmosphere that observe long wave radiation and contribute to global warming, we call this the greenhouse gases. We call them what? The greenhouse gases. We call them the greenhouse gases. Then the layer of the atmosphere furthest from the Earth's surface is then, remember what we have, the layer that is furthest, remember what we have. We are saying now, when you look at the layers of the atmosphere, we have got the troposphere, we have what? Troposphere, then we have got the stratosphere, then we have got the mesosphere, then we have got the thermosphere. Okay, so these are the layers that we have. We have got the troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, then we have got the thermosphere. So the layer of atmosphere furthest from the Earth's surface is the 1.155. That is furthest from the furthest from the layer of atmosphere that is furthest from the Earth's surface, which means we are saying that we have got our thermosphere. Okay, that is furthest because we start off with the tropo, then strato, then meso. Okay, then we also have the thermosphere. We have the thermosphere. Okay, we have got the what? The thermosphere. Okay, the next one is ice which collects on plants and the ground surface is the ice which collects on plants and animal surface. That is your dew. That is your dew. Okay. A map showing summary of weather conditions. A map showing summary of weather conditions of a place is what do we call a map showing summary of weather conditions? We call it a synoptic weather map. We call it a what? Synoptic weather map. That's what we call it, synoptic weather map. Then the last one, synoptic weather map. The last one, chemicals used in some aerosols. Chemical used in some aerosol sprays, refrigerants in conditions, industrial cleaning. What do we call that? The chemical that is used. What do we call it? Used that is the CFCs, or the chlorofluorocarbons. Okay, carbons. We call it the CFCs. We call it the CFCs. Okay. Okay. What else do we have there? All right. So we have gone through this. We have gone through the first part, which is 1.1, Okay. So this one is wrong. This is your frost. I didn't see the part that say ice. Okay. That is your. Let's correct this one. This is frost. Okay. Just to go through it again. Transfer of heat by vertical movement. Of course, think of your type of rainfall. That is convectional. What happens? There's convection that takes place, which means now, what does it do? Convectional currents, of course. Think of how actually air rises, of course, from warm going to the top, replaced by cold. So that is convection. A process whereby areas become more arid and drier, like the desert. That is your desertification. It's a process. Okay. It's not an area with low rainfall and little vegetation, but that is desertification. Moisture which falls from the atmosphere onto the Earth's surface is what? That is your precipitation. Okay. Gases in the atmosphere that absorb long-wave radiation contribute to global warming. We call them the greenhouse gases. The layer of atmosphere furthest from the Earth's surface is the, okay, that is your thermosphere. It's furthest, the layer of the atmosphere. The atmosphere is made up of the troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, and what? Thermosphere. So the first one is the thermosphere. Ice which collects on plants and ground surface. Apologies for that. I had said it is frost. Ice. That's frost. Okay. A map showing the summary of the weather conditions of a place. That is your synoptic weather map. Okay. Let's move on to 1.2 now. Let's move on to 1.2. 1.2. Radiation bounces off particles. Okay. 1.2. Radiation bounces off particles of dust in the atmosphere. Okay, radiation bounces off particles of dust in the atmosphere. That is the first one. Then it's from the upper layer of the stratosphere. What is it called? Okay, the upper layer of the stratosphere. That's the second one. Incoming solar radiation. That's the third one. The heat energy that the earth radiates. That's another one. Then we also have what else do we have? That's the earth radiates, of course. Then we have got a molecule of 3 oxygen atoms that absorbed by ultraviolet rays. That's another one. Then we also have large-scale towering clouds that form thunderstorms. That's another one. Then we've got the permanent gas that makes up 21% of the atmosphere and is necessary for respiration. Okay, so what I usually do with this one, guys, I want to teach you a technique. That's why I was sticking, so that we make our life easier. You can start with the one that you feel are simple. Like, for example, a molecule 3 oxygen atoms. What comes to your mind? That is your ozone. I'm gonna start with the one that are simple, so that at least you have an idea. Large, dense towering clouds that cause thunderstorms. What comes to your mind? Cumulonimbus clouds. I'm going to start with a simple one, so that at least you have an idea of what I mean when I say you can actually use elimination to come up with the correct answer there. Permanent gas that makes up 20% of the atmosphere, necessary for respiration, oxygen. Okay, that is your A. You see how we are doing it. The upper level of the stratosphere, what is the upper? That is the stratopause, which is your C. Then incoming solar radiation, that is your insolation, which is what? D. That is your incoming solar radiation. That is insolation, which is D. Then what else do we have? Which means this one we have taken out, this one have taken out, this one have taken out, this one have taken out. The cumulonimbus we have taken out. Okay, we are left with what? The heat energy that the earth radiates, which means it's more to do with your what? your reflection. The heat energy that the Earth radiates, that is your reflection, okay? That is your G. It's reflected back, it's reflected, which is more like your outgoing, which is more like your terrestrial, okay? Then what else are we left with? So which means we have added the radiation boundaries of particle dust in the atmosphere, that is your scattering, that is your C. So now we started with what we know, then we moved on to include some of the things. We want to include some of the things. So that's how we come up with this answer. So these are your answer in as far as 1.2 is concerned. These are your answer in as far as 1.2 is concerned. So radiation boundaries of particles of dust in the atmosphere, that is your scattering. Okay, the upper layer of the stratosphere, that is your stratopause. And also the incoming solar radiation, that is your insolation. Heat energy that the Earth radiates, that's reflection. A molecule of 3 oxygen atoms which absorb ultraviolet rays. Molecule of 3 oxygen atoms that absorb ultraviolet rays. Okay, that is your ozone, which is found obviously within the stratosphere. Okay, then your large dense towering cloud that forms thunderstorm, that is your cumulonimbus clouds. Then you've got your permanent gas, that is your oxygen. So which means you are done with this. You are done with this. You are done with this. So that is all. That is all. Let's move on to 1.3.